you've got two big controversies. Dragon Age crashed miserably. A AAA game flopped.
Really?
And it is believed the main reason may be, I think it is personally, that they introduced feminist politics, woke politics into the game, gender identity.
What you just saw is Tim Pool talking about Dragon Age and why he thinks the game did not perform good at all. However, he completely ignores or he's not aware of the other glaring and more deeper issues that the game had. And this is something that's gone on for too long, where people think that because a certain game enters a certain aspect and the game doesn't perform well, that's that game's problem. Here we're going to address it because bad games are bad games, good games are good games, and most games are
No,
average.
I don't think they're catering to the demographic.
They absolutely are.
You think GTA
It's
is?
not just GTA, but tons of games have tried implementing this feminist worldview, and it has bombed their games miserably.
Like what? Like what game?
You have first, we're talking about an overlap.
Because Heavenly Sword was fire.
I didn't play that one.
That was great.
Right now, you've got two big controversies. Dragon Age crashed miserably. A AAA game flopped.
Really?
And it is believed the main reason may be, I think it is personally, that they introduced feminist politics, woke politics into the game, gender ideology.
That's disgusting.
And a video went viral.
Full disclosure, I do watch Tim Pool's show. I think he's very informative. He does have some very decent takes, but me and him do not agree when it comes to gaming at all. Like how he was talking about Dragon Age, he brought up how it was catering to the woke audience. I do personally think that this game is giving a wink and nod to that character every now and then. But if you look at how much time the game has, I think it only spends like maybe 2% at max at that game. Now I know some people don't want none of that stuff in the game. Okay, that's perfectly fine. But to say that the game failed because of that completely takes away from the fact of that this game has other bigger issues going on with the game. Lack of choices, poor writing, art style, and the fact that this game had left and right was losing some of its top people that helped make Dragon Age what it is today. We need to talk about those things first before we can even get anywhere close to the woke politics of the game.
At the same time, Marvel Rivals is super popular,
Yeah, it
probably
is.
the biggest game right now. And what do the women look like in that game? They got big booties and big titties. The men are ridiculously jacked, oversized, and the woke are complaining you can't gender swap the characters. And the game's like, shut up.
First things first, we're going to talk about the comparison of a single player game to a multiplayer game. I don't like doing like those kinds of comparisons, period, unless you want to talk about story and story or multiplayer to multiplayer. But since that's the example that Tim uses, we're going to use this one. I don't think Marvel Rivals was a success because of big butts and like beefy guys. That's not what happened. Marvel Rivals was a success because, for one thing, it uses the Marvel IP. I don't think there are a lot of like super popular Marvel video games out there. I think the last one I can remember was Marvel's Avengers by I think it was Square Enix. That didn't do so hot. I think they missed their timing with the game. That game probably should have came out within the same year as Endgame, but I think it came out like the year after. I could be wrong. Don't at me. With that also being said, Marvel Rivals, let's not act like the game isn't just like a fun game to play, period. The game has good mechanics, multiplayer. You know when the game is really good when you can meme it. When the meme culture comes out for the video games, it was good. Jeff the Land Shark was a terrorist when that game first came out. He was a cute little terrorist, terrorizing parties, eating everybody up in the entire team and throwing them off the entire map. Iron Fist, nobody likes to play Iron Fist anymore because we found the strat, but Iron Fist used to beat the bricks off of every character he would see in the back line. Also, it's a free to play game. As much as gaming community likes to shit on free to play games, live service games, the stats actually proves you guys wrong when you really look at it. More people actually play free to play games than they do paid games. Not adding you guys, but y'all eat that shit up and then go to the internet and say we don't like it. Okay, guys, whatever.
The women, they just rolled out Sue Storm and she may as well be not wearing any clothes.
Yeah.
They basically put a naked woman and painted her white and blue. And get this, I don't know why they did this, but Reed Richards has gaps in his junk in his suit, his unitard,
Yeah.
with his pubes sticking out. I don't know what that's all about.
The fact that there
Okay.
are gamers out here who still think that some of these games live and die based on if their male or female characters are 10 out of 10s are laughable at face value and makes no sense when you think about it logically. Because if this was true, if the narrative that they speak is truly true, right? Games like Stellar Blade and The First Descendant will be doing higher numbers than what they were doing at launch, right? Because it took Stellar Blade 3 months for that game to actually hit 1 million copies. And I think last time I looked, The First Descendant has a declining player base. They are losing players.
But the new GTA chick, they twerking on top of the car. Like that's what I want to see. That I want to see.
But the thing,
You want to play that? You want to be that character? Is that who you want to be?
No.
The male power fantasy in GTA is to run around, pull a guy out of his car, steal it, and run it off, drive it off a bridge or whatever.
and it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same
Yeah.
type of feminist
But what
messaging
about-
that's failed in Hollywood, where they make they want to put more women in movies, but the movies that have to make it at the big
I don't
budget
wanna-
box office stuff have to be spy thrillers. They have to be
I don't want to see.
superheroes.
I don't want to see no woman doing man stuff.
Well, then that's the thing, though. See, the problem is that what they don't understand is they think that by putting the female characters in the male role, that they're going to bring in the female audience, not understanding that the women will come for it anyways because they want to see the male in that role too.
That's true.
Yes.
They're
Nobody wants to be the woman on top of a car twerking in front of a camera in the GTA video game. I don't even think women really want to be that, just to be for real. However, one thing that Hotep did say that caught my eye is that he doesn't like women doing men stuff in his video games. However, he did say Heavenly Sword was fire, so I think it's not a thing where he's against women doing men stuff. It could just be a thing that he hasn't found a good game that does it well. Probably something along a Stellar Blaze would be interesting for him. Good action, a nice parry system. The story is third rate in that video game, but we don't have to really talk about that. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. Another good game that he could probably try out is probably Witcher 4. If he plays Witcher 3, it sets you up for Witcher 4, why Ciri is the perfect choice to continue the series. Another thing that was said that was kind of interesting is, and I believe it came from Brett, was that he was talking about why women don't really perform that well in traditional big office movies because those are action films and superhero movies, and men don't really want to see women in those roles. However, I think when it comes to video games, it's kind of different in that space because just last year, Astrobot, a puzzle and adventure game, won Game of the Year. And Last of Us 2, the year it came out, I forgot what year it was, also won Game of the Year, with Ellie being the main character in that story. This year, we're looking at Split Fiction, a game that sold 1 million copies in 24 hours, is a Game of the Year contender. And we're only 3 months into this year alone. So I think the spaces is kind of different when you look at them because moviegoers want different things while gamers are definitely looking at something different. They just want a fun time.
So, have you seen the Dragon Age thing?
I have not.
I gotta show. Okay, well, let's do this. For those that don't know, Dragon Age Veilguard woke. It's a default search. Google already has it pulled up. This is a AAA video game that bombed. And look at this. They say this is from the 24th. Veilguard's clumsy, preachy political messaging does more harm than good.
She's not hot.
No,
hundreds
but
of millions of dollars it costs too.
do they have the video in here? Here you go. You ready for this one? So I'm going to play this for you. What they're saying now is the game didn't resonate with a large enough audience. I wonder why. Listen to this.
Okay. That was bad. We're not going to play the clip here, but that was a bad clip right there. When it went viral, I saw it. I didn't care too much about it. But in hindsight, yeah, that didn't go so well. But however, I think when it's him saying the snowflake doesn't blame itself for the avalanche or something on something like that, that's like the fourth or fifth problem that the game had in terms of like what happened to the game. Like the game lost a lot of its writers that made the game popular. Development issues, like there were so many things wrong with that game in terms of how it was developed that That scene alone was like pennies of a dollar. Like it doesn't make any sense.
So this is what they did for Marvel Rivals. And the women there are drawn like they're naked. I'm not right. And so the issue is whenever they start making frumpy women in these games, it's like I don't trust if Rockstar was being Rockstar, she would be a little bit more over the top.
Her arms are big. Her arms are big, man. You know, she's been at Cluckenbell too many times.
And your attitude is actually really, really like common now. For me, it's the same way. Like if I start a new show, I tell you all the time, I'm look, I don't have any faith in new media that comes out. So if there's like a new show that comes out, it takes about 4 episodes of me where they have to get it right 100% of the time. And if anything sticks out to me as particularly noticeable with like over the top political messaging, I just turn it off immediately because it's not worth it.
Listen, I'm black.
So both Tim and Brett carries the idea that if they watch something or they're trying to play something and it has like an inkling of woke ideology in it, they're turning it off, they're not going to play it, and that's perfectly fine. That's their prerogative if that's what they want to do. However, when it comes to the gaming sphere and the gaming culture as a whole, they are not operating on this level. When you go online and you see people who act like that, that is a vocal minority that actually performs like that. Because if I take the words of woke and I replace it with a live service, there are a lot more people out there who complain about live service games and they play them still. Like 60% of gamers still plays online live service games that are 6 years or older. They don't really play new games. They just play older games. And then they turn around and go online every time they see a live service game, especially a free live service games like Marvel Rivals. They're going to turn around and be like, oh, this is fine. This is cool. I wanted to play this. So gamers say a lot of things, but they don't really do a lot of things. That's how the gaming sphere really works in this mindset. They might cry about woke and women in video games. The mass majority of gamers don't really care because they want to enjoy good games. That's why a game like, again, Split Fiction has 2 female lead characters and the game sold 1 million copies in 48 hours. That's how this works in the sphere. Video games is the largest form of entertainment consumed around the entire world. With that being said, it contains a large cultural push that can form narratives in itself. They make movies and TV shows out of video games now. This is the reason why stuff like, no offense to Tim, but the stuff that him and Brett are saying, and even Hotep, needs to be pushed back against. Now, I don't think these guys are malicious. I just think they are misinformed about how this stuff really works in the cultural sphere when it comes to gaming. Now, they can consider what I'm saying to be BS and that, hey, big boobs is the reason why some of these games fail. But there are still bigger things that we need to worry about in this sphere when in terms of monetization. EA is still running around releasing sports games every year like hotcakes, and people are buying it. I think last year EA has like 4 of the top 10 best spots of the highest selling games that came out last year. And I think one of them is like a bundle of 2 other games that's on the list. That is atrocious. What are we doing here? This is the reason why I don't think like the woke or the feminism ideology in the gaming sphere is that even big of an issue. It's another minority attacking another minority, acting like they're both the majority. This is atrocious that we need to figure out what's going on here because there are way bigger issues going on than just big boobs make good games. That's not what's going on here. I forgot to add this early on in the video, but please like, comment, and subscribe. I might do another video. Right now, there's a controversy again talking about GTA being $100, and that need to be thoroughly discussed because if that game goes to $100, guys, we don't want to see $100 2K27. No, the answer should be just no. Imagine if the Golem game came out as $100. No. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And follow my Twitter.